Step into the paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler, brought to you by Paranormal Inc., right here on WLFE DB Radio.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 34. I got it right this time.
About time.
Yeah, it's 30. Wait a minute.
You had to cut Dave some slack tonight. He's having a little bit of a hangover issue from last night.
Severe paranormal hangover. I didn't sleep well. I'm pooped.
We had a out-of-town residential case and kind of took a toll on him a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, and the weird part is there wasn't really a lot going on. We did figure out what was going on.
Yeah, we figured it out, but we just didn't have a lot of
evidence. Yeah,
anything energy draining,
right?
You know, for a lack of a better term.
But the main part I've been having a problem with is electronic issues all day with everything. Even like leaving last night, my GPS wouldn't work.
Yeah,
we had to use his phone. My computer wasn't working right. We were trying to get our guest in here, and my Bluetooth wouldn't work. Just weird.
Two quick things, David Seiler, before we bring our special guest in tonight. I want to wish a happy birthday to Christy Grissom. Happy birthday, dear.
Birthday,
and very special birthday to Deanna from SOS Teen Paranormal Camp.
Love you, baby.
I always can't remember if she pronounces her name Deanna or Dina.
Deanna.
Happy birthday, Deanna. I asked you that
love ya.
We've been together, about a million times, and I ask her that every time. That's old age kicking in.
I resemble
that. David Seiler, we got an amazing guest tonight. And before we bring her in, our guest is Melody Knapp. You may have seen her on, let me get this. I don't want to mess my facts up here. I actually had to write them down. She is on The Ghost Finders, which you can see on Amazon Prime, and everyone knows VidiSpace. Shout out to all those guys on VidiSpace.
Definitely.
Deanna's been researching the unexplained since 2010.
She knows me well.
Yeah, she'll impress me when she figures this one out. But Deanna was recommended to us by our great friend Dan Glass. So without any further ado, let's bring Melody in. I got a million questions. How you doing, Melody?
Hi guys, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
How are you?
Oh, wrong button. I'm trying.
It's a great start. I love it.
I can see you're in the holiday spirit.
Oh yes, decorated already. 2020, I'm so done with it. So let's just keep it moving to 2021.
It's the little things that bring us comfort or joy or good memories, so to speak, that'll get us through the rest of these few weeks, because we only have a few weeks of 2020 left. So that's what I've been doing for how many weeks now, Dave? My decorating. I got this.
Oh my Lord! You don't want
I got this obsessive Christmas decorating disorder, and
he takes like a couple months to decorate, a couple months to undecorate, and has like 9 trees in his house.
I actually start on October 1st. So anyway, enough of that. I mean, Melody, my very first question that I have to ask you, because there's so many things I want to ask you, and I know you've done so much. So I think this question can get us on the right track of everything I want to talk about.
Yeah.
What specifically, was there an event, or what specifically got you involved in the paranormal?
Oh gosh. So the paranormal has always been an interest of mine. But the initial start of what got me into the field of research and investigating was I was 18 years old. I went to like this old state hospital, and I actually saw a full body shadow figure apparition. It crawled out from like a bulkhead to my left. It ran out into the path that I was on. It looked at me, like I could see its head turn and look at me, and then it turned, ran, and disappeared in front of my eyes. And in that moment, it was like, what was that? So I immediately jumped on a team, because I was like, that's crazy. I had no idea what I had seen. And yeah, that's what really started my journey in the field.
Wow. It's
Nice.
so, I know exactly what you're talking about. And it seems that every occurrence that I experience, similar to what you're saying, is when we're either arriving somewhere, packing up, and like we have no equipment running. So they always have to take my word on it. You know what I mean?
You know what the worst part is? I had a camera in my hand, but I was so shocked and like not prepared for it. I literally, I wasn't aiming at it, and I was just in shock.
And the thing is, I mean, we sit here and preach about, keep all your senses on alert and always be prepared, and things happen quick. And every time something like that happens, man, sometimes it's so fast. It's like you're all thumbs. You're like, oh, you know what you got to do. You know what you want to do, but you just can't get that camera up and ready that fast.
Yeah, that's why I love the static vision cameras that you set up beforehand. Right. I love the GoPros that you can just like stick on your chest or what have you. That way, like you're not, because like we're humans and we fail. We're not perfect. And when presented with an experience, especially a paranormal experience, like we don't always act how we wish we would. I guess that's the best way I want to word it. Just because it is like, as much as we're researching and investigating all of these different things, like we're still human. So we still have the shock value, and, we get a little frazzled in the moment, Yeah.
Yep. Your body does one thing, but your mind does something completely opposite.
Yep.
What is, that's intriguing, because I'm always intrigued with the whole shadow thing. Because actually last night, off air, we were talking about, we were doing a residential case. So while David here was still interviewing the clients and everything, when I went up into one of the bedrooms to set up the camera, I let everyone know. I said, hey, I'm going to do a quick EVP burst. Just keep an eye on the monitor and keep an eye on me. So I had nothing with me but a voice recorder and a K2 meter. I set the K2 meter on the bed, and it was completely dead. Our preliminary reading showed zeros across the board. So they had a nice, comfortable, like lazy boy chair. So what I like to do when I get into an unfamiliar place, I like to sit down, and for about 45 to 60 seconds, I like to just settle in, look around, listen, and, just bring my tone down. And the room was very, very still. As soon as I hit record on the recorder and started introducing myself, my K2 meter took 2 huge spikes. As soon as I started talking, well, nothing came back on the EVP burst session, but right before, in my mind, when I said, okay, I'm going to cut the recorder in about 10 seconds, I always do like a mental countdown to myself. I saw a shadow from inside the room cross the window. And I was like, damn it, because I didn't have no camera. I just figured, hey, I'm going to do a quick EVP burst. And that's just the way it happens. And it seems it happens like that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's, during filming or during, investigating, or even if you're out and you wasn't there for a paranormal adventure, what's one of the most, I don't like to say frightening, but one of the most startling things that caught you off guard?
Oh, man. So I was filming with a different team, Hunting the Haunted, like a few years back. I want to say 5 years. And we were filming at a location in New Hampshire, which is where I'm from originally. And there was reports of a spirit that like attacked women and targeted women. So of course, me being me, I grabbed like the only female camera operator, and I was like, let's go, solo session. And I was at a seance table, and I was kind of just like talking. I wouldn't say provoking, because I'm very against provoking. I don't think it's acceptable in any form, honestly. I just don't ever think it's like the right way to go. So anyway, I was just like communicating at the seance table, pretty much just being like, hey, like, I'm here. I hear you don't like women. You want to tell me why? Like, what's going on? And I had what felt like a full-grown man hand slap my leg, like inner upper thigh is what I'm talking about. And it was so hard and felt literally just like a guy was right there and it slapped me. And I jumped up, I flipped the table, I was across the room, and I actually had like fingerprint bruises. I'll have to send you the picture at some point on my leg where it happened. And that was probably what I would say is the scariest moment I've ever had, just because like I've gotten like pushed and I've gotten like a scratch. I've never gotten like 3. Mock of the Trinity. I've never had anything like that. I've had spirits follow me home before. I always talk about when I do these interviews about like an event that I had a spirit follow me home and it like dragged me out of bed. But I think that's like equal parts like surprise and me rolling off the bed, just because I wasn't expecting it. But that was definitely by far probably one of the scariest moments like I've ever like felt that fear, like that adrenaline fear. Like I literally flipped the table, and like the floor that it was on, it was like a lot of beams and holes in the floor where you could like drop. It was like a big windmill, and you could drop floors. And I was across the room, like dead serious. Yeah, across the room. So that was pretty scary.
Nice. What about you, David Seiler? What's one of your 1,000
Let's
most
hear it.
Oh, Melanie. And I'm sure it involves Ernie getting injured somewhere along the line.
There are 2. The very first hunt I went on with Ernie, we were at Haldeman Mansion in Bainbridge, Pennsylvania. And I was born October 30th. I love scary. I love spooky. I've been looking into the paranormal all my life, but not really doing it professionally. Well, we went on this ghost hunt together years ago. And as we're talking, Laura is sitting there. She's talking out loud. She's using the pendulums. I feel something start to do this. And I'm like, what the? Okay. Now, I have short hair. Okay. So she says, feels like somebody touched me. I said, yeah, it feels like spider webs going across my neck. She goes, it's probably Mrs. Haldeman. She doesn't understand why you have short hair. All the men back then had long hair. Okay, fair enough. So she goes back into her spiel. All of a sudden, something runs up my leg. I mean, literally just, I screamed. The noise that came out of me was like, ah! And I mean, I'm like tumbling back out of a chair. I hit the flashlight, look down, and it's her dog.
I love it.
Ernie should have known by then, stay out of my way when I'm scared, because we were the prize of a radio station. We're up at Haldeman. There's 4 guests. They each have a guest with them, and producers, some DJs. We're up in a room. Equipment's in the center of the room. Ernie's right here to my left. Everybody else is kind of around us. This one girl keeps holding on to my arm because she's scared. And I'm in the doorway. Behind me, I hear, turn around, look, nothing. I hear footsteps walking up. Turn around, flashlight, look, nothing. I hear like sound like pebble drops. Nothing. Finally, the 4th or 5th time I turn around, I went, what the is going on back there? Just I'm turning the light off and turning around. The girl grabs hold of my arm again. It sounded like a truck hit the wall. It scared the ever-loving Jesus out of me. It shook the whole house.
It actually sounded like an explosion.
It did, against the wall.
The house shook.
Now, we actually had some comments on the video that basically they thought we had faked it. But we went back and showed you can hit these walls. They're solid plaster. They don't move. I'm like pounding on it, showing that you can't make that noise. The whole house shook. Well, what did I do? I went this way. Everybody else went this way with me, except Ernie stood there and went to the point where as I was coming, his head went like this. My forehead went right into his nose.
But the reason I stood there, Melody, was we had several different devices on the floor.
I didn't step on them.
And my first thing was, oh, crap, here comes Dave full steam ahead, and he's going to run and just crush all our equipment. Yeah. So I stood in front of him.
Yeah, but the thing is, he didn't move. Well, you actually heard the snap as I hit it. And he's going, oh, my God. You can see birds going around his head. I think you broke my nose. Now I look at him. He's dazed. So we finally get him back and run. It took about 5 minutes. We went into the room that was behind me. Our equipment went nuts for like the next 30 minutes.
Man.
Next day, we had another investigation. He comes up with these big old Stevie Wonder glasses on. I'm like, dude, what's going on? What's up with the glass? He goes, he was a raccoon.
Yeah, I look like I got beat up.
Yeah.
Did he really break his nose?
I my nose didn't. Luckily, my nose didn't break, but he hit me right under. He hit me right underneath of it. It actually, Melody. It actually took me off my feet.
His nose was all swollen up for days.
You gotta understand. Dave's 6'6", and he's about a foot taller than me. Almost.
Yeah, I'm 300 pounds.
Yeah, I'm not that big, so it didn't take much to throw me across the room.
Well, the running joke of the next day was, Ernie, what happened? Dave pimp slapped me.
Good response.
Yeah. So we tell people now as we're ghost hunting, there are 2 rules. Rule number 1, if you hear something, say something, don't run, don't scream, don't holler. Rule number 2, unless your name is Dave, don't get in front of him.
Yeah.
So we warn our people at this point.
That's good.
Melody, I'm very familiar with ghost finders, and sometimes at night when it's slow, that's kind of like one of my favorite things to check out. But how did you get involved in it?
Oh, cool. So I love this story. Back in 2018, Rob, our host and psychic medium, actually reached out to me about doing a guest appearance on one of their episodes at Greystone Manor up in New York. And I went and I did a guest investigating appearance, and I just like hit it off with Megan and Rob and Heather and like the whole crew.
Sound. Hold on. Let me turn the Bluetooth off. He touched something.
I did.
Let me. Wait a minute. Let me.
Can you bring her in on that?
I'm trying. There you go. All right, Bluetooth. All right, we're gonna move the mic. All right, you may be a little lesson, but you say something.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep,
yes,
I can hear you.
I got you.
If anybody watching the stream cannot hear her, please let me know.
Yes, please, because I like to talk, but I like more if people are listening.
Yeah,
it's kind of the point of it. But yeah, just to pick up where, I guess at the beginning, because I don't know where it left off, I was asked to come in 2018 to do a guest appearance as an investigator on one of their episodes at Greystone Manor. And I went, and it was incredible, like immediate chemistry between myself, Rob, Megan, and a bunch of like the camera crew as well. So Rob actually ended up reaching out to me about coming on full time, but I had recently gotten pregnant with my son. So once I had him and things kind of leveled out being like a first time mom, I immediately jumped on board and the opportunity, and yeah, now I'm a full-time cast member with them, and it's incredible.
So cool.
Awesome.
And I got to tell you, and I'm not saying this because I got the hat on or because we're buddies with Dan. One of my favorite episodes was Hinsdale House.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I've
watched that live feed several times, and when you see something just slide randomly, and it's like, really? So.
Oh, yeah. And it's so funny because Dan's obviously a good friend of mine, but I love the Hinsdale House.
Yes.
Far before I was on the Ghost Finders, I actually hosted an event at the Hinsdale House back in 2016, the fall of 2016. And we had some crazy activities. So like I had went there before I hosted the public event just to kind of like shoot some promo reels to kind of draw in people to come and just to get a feel for the house. Because as you were talking about earlier, Ernie, I like to kind of sit in locations, and sometimes I'll meditate, but just sit quiet, like no equipment, just get one-on-one with the spirits. And like, I'm a firm believer that the human body is the best tool you can use. Everything else either documents it or enhances it, depending on what you're using. But
Dave, doesn't it, when she talks, doesn't it sound like me talking to you the way she's explaining it? I swear, it's like the things you're saying, like off camera, is like exactly what I talk to Dave about.
He's very old school. I'm technical. So that's my background.
He's technical. That's why we had to turn the speaker off and put the mic.
You hit it, not me.
But you know what? That's like the best part about coming together as a team is you have people that have like these different like proficiencies, I guess you could say, in different aspects. Well, so it benefits in the end.
We were talking last night, Dave and I, on our journey back from our case last night. You know, we were talking about, you know, having differences and different opinions and stuff like that. And, you know, a good partnership or friendship or whatever it's kind of almost like a marriage, because if Dave and I sat here, hear me out. If Dave and I sat here and agreed on everything, we would get nothing accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to, it's got to be, well, I like it this way. No, I like it that way. And you hash out, and you always come to that medium point where it always works out.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It's essential to have different viewpoints and different approaches, especially when it comes to like the supernatural world, because none of us know anything and we always want to grow. There's always something to learn, and we learn it from each other and the experiences we have and sharing it and trying different techniques. And I don't know, I don't think a team would really function properly if everyone was on the same page, believed in the same things, had the same specialties.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about being on the Ghost Finders, because we've got the medium, we've got the witch, we've got the equipment, specialist, and we've got me, who is like, I'm a skeptical believer, I guess you could say. I truly always think that there's a way to explain a lot of the things, like 90% of the things that we experience while doing investigations, but those other 10% of things that happen, dive further.
See, I like Melody, I like to refer to myself as a skeptic who believes in the paranormal. Mm-hmm. And, with saying that, like, for example, I feel nothing other than your natural human emotion. I'm not, a medium. I'm not a psychic. I don't, get sick when I walk in places. I have to figure it out or get the evidence on my own, which is good. You know what I mean? And right along with what you're saying, like, when we start somewhere to investigate, I always like to go off by myself for a second, even though that's not the smartest thing to do. But I like to just sit down and, what I say, get in touch with the environment.
Absorb it.
Just see what my natural feelings are. Because you don't have to be an empath or a medium to go in somewhere and feel creeped out. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. And I always go on that instinct, like, but I do. Dave said about old school techniques. I love old school techniques, man. In my opinion, you can't go wrong. If it's just you and I in a building, a house, a room, and there is no one there, and we're getting direct responses from a child. I mean, can we sit here and say, "Yep, that's a ghost"? No, we can't. But we can definitely say there was no one else in that room, and I can't explain that right now.
Here is a really cool trick. Ted Van Son, who is actually our sponsor of WLFE DB Radio, I had something come home with me, and he was trying to find out what it was.
I told you to leave her at the bar, man, but you wouldn't listen to me.
At the dollar store, they sell these really cool candle things that you drop the whole candle in, but it's contained in the top. Mm-hmm. And if you light a flame, you can actually talk to whatever it is, and it'll push the flame, but you can't affect it from outside. So if you blow it, it's in a glass container. It's only $1. Oh, cool. Really good old school technique item from a dollar store.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
His latest book that I wrote the forward for. His book is all about old school techniques, and I mean, it's awesome, man. It all depends on what you like. And Melody, I'm sure you'll agree. Like, Dave is a tech guy. That's what he does. That's his living.
I'm a network engineer. If you could actually see behind the camera, I have like the Starship Galactica back here, and with Star Wars. I have probably 9 screens and 4 computers, and that's what I do for a living.
But he loves all them toys. Where I rather just have a digital camera and a voice recorder and see what the heck I can get into. You know what I mean? But it's the combination, like you said, with Ghost Finders. You have a variety of everything, and when you put that together, when you click, man, it's unstoppable.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It makes the best cake.
What's one of the most memorable things that happened at the Hinsdale house while you were there?
Oh gosh. So I've been there quite a few times. I'm just going to bring it back to the very first time when I was there. It actually links into what I was saying before we went off. So I was in the house, kind of casing it before we had our event, and Dan had come. I was there with another woman who co-hosted with me, and he left, and we started hearing walking upstairs in Mary's room, and we're like, oh, that's weird. And then the motion lights went off outside, which could easily be explainable animal, something like that. And then we started hearing banging on the walls. So me being me, I'm like, we're two females in the middle of the woods, because anyone who's been to Hinsdale knows it's literally in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. I was like, you know, people know that we're here. What if someone like drove up here and is like messing with us? Except we started seeing shadow figures darting in the kitchen. We heard straight up just, it sounded like running back and forth upstairs, which anyone who's also been there knows there's not a lot of room to run. It's a very small space. It's a small location, small house. And then we heard it sounded like two hands on the window just go bam. And we look, and then it happened on the other window. And we look, and then it happened on another window. And and then it felt like the house was shaking. And like, for me, that was probably one of my favorite experiences at the Hinsdale house, because it was like so much activity. It was like all of these different aspects, which like normally when I'm on an investigation or at a place, like you'll get like one, maybe two, and it's spread out throughout the night. This was all happening at the same time. And it was just chaotic, but I live on chaos. So it was fantastic.
You're talking about the windows. I had it's funny, man, because you ever investigating a place, and this happens to me all the time. I don't know if it's excitement but like we hosted a public event last month, and it was a three-story location. And throughout the night, I would forget what floor I'm on. I would do that like, I'm on the third floor, the second.
It's an old age thing.
But anyhow, one night, Dave and I, we were at a mansion, and we were hosting a public event, and he's down at the main area, and I'm running wires upstairs. So I'm going through the place, and I'm hooking the camera up or whatever, and I hear on the window in the next bedroom. And I'm thinking to myself, come on, Dave, you got to get a little more clever than that. You're not going to scare me by knocking on the window. So I hear, and I'm like, and I walk over to the window, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm on the second floor. So and I knocked on the window, and it was it. And the second floor of the Haldeman, how far? That's far off the ground.
That's 15, 20 feet.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool, man. That's really cool.
I was just at the Haldeman a few months ago. It's there's no way.
That's right. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, Dan asked me to ask a couple questions about some spirits there. So I'm the one who put him in what he was looking for.
That's right. I remember
we used to live there like probably 5-6 times during the summer. Several summers in a row.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's like stepping back in time. I love locations like that where it's like literally stepping back in time.
Yeah, right on the water. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I remember the first time I went there years ago. I was like, we were pulling up the driveway, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Another location I know you hosted events at, and let me get I hope I get this correct without messing it up. Horsefly Chronicle.
Yep.
Where's that at?
That's here. So that's in Easton, Pennsylvania. I want to say. Also in Pennsylvania, and that's Phil and Julia Syracusa. That's a crazy place, but they actually like recent events. This guy's been haunted by what he believed to be a demonic spirit for his entire life. They moved from like Staten Island, New York to Pennsylvania. It followed them. And there was some crazy stuff. There was like this spirit masking itself as a child, Sarah. Just weird stuff. Like that last event that I hosted there, like the lights were flickering. And I'm like, literally like, someone get me a ladder. And I'm up like in the roof, like trying to see how the wiring is and all the lights. Cause we had the lights off. And I'm like, there's no way that this, like, I'm not an electrician, but I was like, there's no way that this should be flickering if the lights are off. Right.
Right.
Do you know if they were bulb lights or were they tube lights?
They were bulb lights.
Okay. Because if they're tube lights, they work on a ballast, and those ballasts can actually absorb a charge and slowly release a charge if they're old. So that's why I'm at. Yeah, I can actually. A lot of stuff being from an electronic background and an electrical background, I can kind of debunk a lot of the electronic stuff too. But if it was actually,
I have a question for you.
If
David
it's an
Sala.
actual LED bulb or just a normal light bulb, they do not hold any type of ballast or charging that can actually do that. So if they're flickering, you're getting a separate energy itself.
Being from a technical / electrical background, what, like in mid-sentence, can cause a Bluetooth speaker to stop working?
Me failing to charge it properly before the event.
Oh.
Melody, if you have, which we all do, what is one location that you have never been to that, if given the opportunity, you would leave right now and go?
Well, without even thinking about it, I would say probably Pavaglia in Italy.
Oh man!
Come on!
Yes,
I want to go there so bad. Like,
if you ever hook that up, please keep your buddy Ernie in mind. I would love to.
I got it. Like, I love road trips, so that would be like a couple plane rides and a few time zones, but no, that's like probably like top of my list. Just because it also morphs, like I'm a super history nerd. And I don't know why, but I've always been like interested in the Black Plague, and just how that ties into the island, how they would bring people infected with the Black Plague to that island to die. And just it's like supposedly made of like ash and all these different aspects to it. Just that would probably be like ultimate goals for me.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
What's yours, David Seiler?
There's a whole bunch of them. See, I want to go. I like old prisons, just old shut down prisons. See, the thing I don't understand is like when you're driving down the road and you see like a hotel that's been abandoned for no reason, an entire huge hotel just abandoned. Those are the kind of places I'm like, I want to just dive in there and go look at.
Like last night, Melody, we were on the house we were going to. We were in West Virginia,
and this house is out in BF Egypt.
I mean,
way out. Nothing around it.
It grabbed to the residents set kind of like on. I don't want to say. I guess like a hill. It was like a half-mile gravel road like this to get just to the house.
Just to the house, yeah.
But the main road, I guess it was like a windy road through a mountain, more or less. But as we're coming around one of the curves and it was just got dark, right to the right was an abandoned house. And
it was right on the road, but it was like hidden by a couple trees in front.
Yes.
And we spotted it and I'm like slowing down like, we're coming back.
But if it's just one of those, you ever see a location, you're just riding for whatever reason, you go, oh hell, I know that place is haunted. That was the house. And we were like, we're mapping out where we're at because we're going, when it, the weather breaks, we're going to ride our motorcycles down there, and but it was just crazy.
Yeah,
looking.
It was huge, and it was like right on the road, but it was up maybe about 10 feet off the road on a small hill, like with 3 or 4 trees in front of it. So if you didn't see it,
and it looks like no one's been in there for
years,
at least 50 years,
decades. So we're going back.
It looked like one of those, because you were talking about, Melody, did you ever see that the videos of the people will do like the 30-minute challenge in an abandoned? You ever seen them yet on YouTube?
No, that's a thing.
Place. Look up 30-minute challenge on YouTube. They go by themselves into a haunted location,
all by themselves for
30 minutes. And some of them they make the challenge, some of them they don't.
But that looked like one of the type of places.
Yeah. Like one of the 30-minute challenges, they went into this house that apparently the husband offed the whole house and offed himself, and everything they still owned was still in there. And this is
that's
later. And one of as they were coming through, the guy who looked up, and this chandelier like 30 feet up started swinging. And you're looking around. There's no way, unless somebody grabbed like a stick from the upper balcony, if they're trying to fake it, and pushed it and ran.
Yeah.
But it's like he walked through and everything was calm, and coming back, he's like, what the?
But see, most of these videos too, and you can, from being an investigator and being in all these different places, we can tell if someone's faking it.
Right.
Just by that natural first expression or the way the words come out of their mouth. You can tell. And these seem pretty sincere.
Yeah.
I mean, I get a kick out of watching them.
Yeah. But I mean, this house still had Rolex watches laying on the counter, and apparently nobody broke in and stolen the stuff, even though the whole place was dead and it's been there for over a year.
Wow.
You see, like, I think the challenge is really cool. It's a cool idea. Like, give me any location. I'll go in for 30 minutes. Hell, I'll go in for a whole night by myself. Like, I love it. I love it. But are they getting permission from like the landowners? Are they trespassing? Are they breaking and entering? Like, that's where it gets a little iffy for me. And I'm like,
Have you ever stayed anywhere? Have you ever done that? Like, stayed somewhere actually alone all night?
No.
I've done that.
Besides like sleeping at Hinsdale, that would probably, well, I normally work in like a team setting, so I've never really had the opportunity to. I mean, I slept at the Horsefly Chronicle house the night before, but the family lives there, and I slept at Hinsdale House with the person I co-hosted it with. So
like 33 years ago, maybe. That when was 1987? 33 years. Something like that. We went to a friend of mine's friend's house. It's supposed to have been haunted. It was like a log cabin. So we had a seance, and we had pretty good results. Now this is going back in 87 now. So bottom line was everyone was leaving, had somewhere to go that night, and they bet me that I wouldn't stay in the house all night by myself. And like a dummy, I did. And I was in the middle of nowhere in Hartford County, Maryland, and stayed in this alleged haunted house all by myself all night. And it was a long night. I was actually terrified.
See, I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
I'm a people.
But why? It's what we do.
I like people. No.
Well, back then, back then I was, already researching, the spirit world and more from a religious aspect, but, wasn't investigating. I mean, it wasn't mainstream yet. So it was just more for fun and to be scared. And you would be surprised at what tricks your mind can play on you. You know what I mean? Because I can remember, and I can't confirm or deny this, but I remember in the living room, they had a little, very dim table lamp. So I kept that on in the living room in case I had to run out of the bedroom, I'd be able to see. And I can remember laying in the bed, and I was just like, I would doze off, wake up, doze off, wake up. And I remember hearing a noise in the living room, and I knew no one was there because the structure of the house, if anyone attempted to come in, it was like you heard it through the whole house. And I can remember laying in bed, and I could see underneath the bedroom door the glimmer of light. And I watched a shadow pass by the door, and I didn't know whether to stay in the bedroom or run out of the bedroom or what to do. So I just kind of like laid there like you would see on TV like this and waited it out.
Yep.
Under the covers.
The blanket up because it protects you from everything.
Melody, what do you have coming up?
Well, COVID's ruining everything right now. Yeah, my state's kind of shut down. Our cases have been spiking. So right now, if I were to leave the state, I have to quarantine when I get to my destination. I have to quarantine when I get back from my destination. And I just can't pull that off with work right now.
Right. Yeah,
so I was supposed to be doing an event in January down in Virginia, and that got canceled. And then I have another event that I can't talk about yet because they haven't announced it, but I can talk about, I will be a guest speaker at Salem Con in Salem, Massachusetts, April 23rd through the 24th.
Awesome.
Which is so exciting. I love that convention. I'm so excited to be speaking on my own for the first time. I've got a lot to say, so I've been having fun kind of like narrowing down the topic I'm going to talk about. We have some episodes of the Ghost Finders that are going to be premiering over the next couple of months. So that's something to look forward to. Yeah.
I already watch it, but please, when they're getting ready to come out, if you can remember me to message me and let me know so I can keep up on it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some crazy stuff that happened during filming as well. So I'm sure they're going to be wonderful after they're through the editing process.
Right. When you going back to Hinsdale? You have anything upcoming there, or?
I'll go tomorrow. No, I love the Hinsdale house. I really do. Dan knows he loves when I go and I talk on these podcasts because I'm like free publicity for the Hinsdale house. It's literally one of my favorite locations I've ever been to.
So it was so cool when we met Dan, because we've been friends with Dan for years, quite some time now. But I knew all about the Hinsdale house, and it was something that I followed, and I remember reading about and everything. And when we did one of our first events with Dan, who was also in the event, and they told me, like, that's the guy who owns the Hinsdale house. And I'm like, you're kidding me.
Yep.
And I couldn't believe it, because I was always so intrigued with the whole, investigations that occurred there, 50 years ago.
The failed exorcism.
Yes. And it's just, that was right up my alley of research. You know what I mean? And that was a key point in researching the way that I do, so to speak. Yeah. And when I met Dan and found out because I knew who Dan was. I heard of Dan, and I knew he had books out. I knew he was an investigator, but somehow the main thing of owning the Hinsdale house, I didn't know about that.
Top left book up there is Dan's.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that.
we have to meet you up there one day. One night,
definitely.
One weekend, one whatever.
Absolutely. It's about 8 hours from where I live, but I'm always willing to take that drive.
I felt like you're somewhere in Pennsylvania.
No, I live in New Hampshire.
Oh, New Hampshire. Yeah, I mean, I know you said that, but it just, Pennsylvania has the same lockdown you were discussing, and Hinsdale's about 8 hours from us.
Is it that far?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Holy crap! What part of? Oh, well, I'm not going to ask you. I had a friend. This is going off topic, but one of my very, very first childhood friends, I remember his family packed up and moved to New Hampshire, and I just found out, like, I've seen him once since I was probably 6 years old, and I found out he passed away. Oh, wow. And I was like, wow. I mean, because it's just, you always remember those first childhood neighborhood, friends. And he moved to Epping, New Hampshire. Is that correct?
Oh, I know where that is. Yeah.
Yeah. His family moved to Epping, New Hampshire. But
Holly says she's about an hour away. Come up and visit, and she'll go up.
Oh, Holly.
Yeah. I'm like,
hey, there was some questions came up, and we got of course, I get the rambling. But I'll let you answer one of them and give your perspective, Melody. One of the viewers asked, can you explain what it is when you're walking and you feel as if you walk through like a cobweb or a spider web?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different theories as to why you would feel that, right? The one that I kind of lean towards is it is literally the physical manifestation of energy.
Yep.
And it makes sense to me. That's why you would see orbs and things like that. It's just the physical form of that energy can feel like spider webs because it's got that kind of like static to it, but it's like a light, dull static.
I wasn't trying to put you on the spot with the question. I just figured.
No, I love questions.
It would be better for you to answer than Dave or I. It's really. Good. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It has nothing to do with the paranormal. It's just really funny because my biggest fear is spiders and spider webs. So anytime I have those experiences, that's when I lose it while I'm investigating anything that has to do with spiders or cobwebs, because I assume that there's a spider in that. See, my two biggest are snakes and flying. Okay. And Melody, I would seriously, like, if I was to look over and see a snake there, I get so panicky I would probably pass out.
Run me over trying to get away from it.
I don't know what it is. I've never had a bad encounter with a snake, but it's just, I can't even look at pictures of snakes. Really. The phobia is that bad. Because if you remember at the beginning of tonight when Dave said we had the event and I showed up with black eyes, That was an outdoor event in Gettysburg. And they left out the part that where we will be taking guests
was the haunted trails
that is filled with snakes. And they did not tell me that
and
till I got there.
Copperheads.
Till I got there.
Yep.
And I literally I was mad. I was like, you know what? I'm getting in my car and I'm leaving. This is on you, you know. But somehow or another, I made it through.
We stole his keys.
But
right, where are you gonna go without keys?
I can sympathize with you with that. The spiders are bad for me, but not as bad as snakes. That's horrible.
I can do snakes.
I always tell people too, like, try being a paranormal investigator where you're going to all these abandoned places that are just infested with spiders and having one of your biggest phobias be spiders because you run into them every single time.
When I was still an Anne Arundel County officer, I came home. I still had my uniform on, and I went out to my back porch to smoke. I was on the second story, and there's a wall right here in the sliding glass behind me, and I saw something do this. And as I looked, this thing about size of my hand went like this at me, and the noise that came out of me, I tried running through the glass. I actually drew my service weapon, and I actually hit my panic button on the radio. And I'm like telling my dispatcher, you better get somebody here or else I'm going to discharge my firearm.
What was it?
It was a spider.
Oh, Lord.
No.
Not a joke. This big.
What the hell kind of spider is that?
Animal control gets there. Not a joke. And I'm like literally standing in my living room with my weapon out. If this thing comes anywhere into my house, it's getting shot.
What kind of spider? Well, I've never heard of that.
It's a wolf spider.
Ugh,
So
no.
The guy said apparently it was somebody's pet.
Oh.
He walks over and picks it up and just put it. I'm like, oh, no. No.
Why would someone have that as a pet? I just don't understand. I don't know.
No. But he was hanging. And as I looked, I mean, he literally went like this at me, like right in my face. And the noise that came out of me, only dogs could hear.
So high toned.
I can do snakes. I can do bugs. I can do dead things, whatever. Spider.
Yeah, I agree. What Melody, I noticed, man, we're really jumping around, but it just crossed my mind because I was thinking about where you said you would like to go in Italy. What do you think about England?
Oh, Black Monk House.
Oh, yeah. Dave and I were in talks with some friends of ours over there.
And you're right, Mark. You're right, Mike. Thank you. Mike says they're nasty.
Yes.
Wolf spiders are nasty.
Yeah, they are.
Dave and I are planning on taking a trip over there and investigating some of the infamous locations in the United Kingdom. But of course, with everything going on, everything's getting slowed down, and I can't wait. I can't wait for it to end. We are all caught up on all our postponed events.
Yep.
Because of the virus, we were able to get reschedule them and get them back in.
Yep.
Awesome.
So. We have one more left on the books for this year.
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
If you're bored, you can come down with us. You're welcome to. I'll even buy your ticket for you. It's in Columbia, Pennsylvania. It's called the Sam Miller Mansion, and it was the one that he was telling about with 3 floors on it that he got lost on. One of the most active places we've run across.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
On our YouTube channel, we actually have a video where we have all of our equipment in a window, and it's really bizarre. When you look in this window, look left, look right, there's no way in or out except for this half window. It looks like a bookcase used to be over it. It was a hiding space for the Underground Railroad. So we had all our equipment in there, and we're asking, and at one point, Ernie's saying, can you turn that on? And it would come on. Can you turn that on? It would come on. Can you turn this one off? And literally doing this and on command. So
I love when that happens.
We've got mega EVPs. Actually, on John McGinnis, we did. That's where we had a few weeks ago. He did just an awesome video. He actually caught things on his camera because he has one of those professional, the big ones that we didn't even see. He actually highlighted them for us. Yeah. So he did an amazing. Yeah. Wow. So really good place. So, but if you're bored, come on down.
Melody, tell everyone where they can find you and all that good stuff. See your work and what you're doing and where you're headed. And
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a page on Facebook. It is at Paranormal Melody Knapp on Facebook. You can email me at paranormalmelodyknapp@gmail.com. You can also follow us on The Ghost Finders. We have a fan page for that as well, which you can keep up to date. And then you can always follow Viddy Space, which they will post all of our updates and when our episodes are coming out.
That is so cool. I can't wait to see the new ones. Like I said, sometimes when things slow down, because I work permanent night work. So sometimes when things slow down at night, I'm able to catch up on a few personal things and check things out. And I started watching it. Oh man, that was last year maybe. But favorite episode was the Hinsdale house, though, I gotta admit. I love when they went outside, you know. Is that you what do you think about
oh my God.
What do you think about the outside of the Hinsdale house, the actual property?
The grounds is like really creepy.
That's where it's at. Like the woods is where it's at. The entire property, like it's so crazy because when it comes to the Hinsdale house, there's so much to unpack. There are old entities there. That's why, like, when they talk about the exorcism that was performed on the house and they say that it was a failed exorcism, I don't believe an exorcism could ever truly be performed at that location because it's so much and it predates all of us. Wow. It was really cool because I got some insight from Megan, who is our witch on the show, and we were chit-chatting outside in the woods, and we decided to go up into the woods by ourselves, no cameras or anything like that. We just had like a flashlight, and she was kind of explaining to me that what she calls the elders or the ancients are there, and they're neither good nor bad. They are just there, and they are powerful. There's a lot of elementals there as well. And it's really funny because anytime people talk about the Hinsdale house with me, because everyone knows that like that's like one of my favorite locations I've been to. So always like, oh, is it a demonic? Is it an evil entity? And I just want to like put the record straight. No, no, it's old and we don't know much about it. But I would never in a million years say that it is a demonic presence in that location. No.
See, there's so many things about the field and exactly about what you're saying that people don't understand. You know, they just, you like anything else in this world or anything else you want to, accomplish. It's all about your research. It's like when you get a new piece of equipment or a new toy or whatever, me personally, not being that technical, I sit and read the book from cover to cover and try to figure the darn thing out before I even turn it on. And I think that goes hand in hand with good investigating as well. You know what I mean? If you can go out for fun and investigate, or you can do it for what I like to say the right reasons. You know what I mean? And it just involves research. And it's like taking the Hinsdale house, for example, and what you're saying, it can go off in so many different directions. If it goes off in this directions, it can sprout in 50 more, and it's such a hard to get a handle on it because it's so much going on, and who knows better than you, but
that's what I love about it is like, there's so many different rabbit holes that you can get lost in, like I'm the psycho, like I bring in every single theory that I've researched. Like, have you ever had a recording come back and it sounds like one of you is saying something or in your voice? So my theory on that is it has to do with different dimensions and possible time traveling. And it's possible that you are hearing yourself from either the future or the past.
I have a question.
Nick Groff actually said something like that. So he went back to the Washoe Club. Okay.
Right.
I think he did it in Death Walker, or I'm possibly mixing up my videos, but he noted that back when he was with Ghost Adventures, he got something that sounded like his voice. And then when he revisited it, he's like, what if that was me from right now hearing it back then? And that I love diving into theories like that.
I got a question for you. It's not so much a question, but I want your opinion because I experienced something a few weeks ago, and this is the first time I've been investigating since 1999. It's the first time I come across this, and I want your honest opinion. We were hosting a public investigation where we will be in 2 weeks at the Sam Miller Mansion. We were on the top floor, It's a A-frame room. Off in the corner where the ceiling slopes down, people were hearing noises, and so was I. Now, I was in the middle of the floor. I think I was running some piece of equipment. Well, when the lady that owns the place, she lit a flashlight or her phone or something and shined it at the floor. Over where we heard the tapping noises, I saw, it wasn't a shadow and it wasn't a mist. I saw what looked like a human. He was kneeling down like a baseball catcher, but he kept his head like that, like he didn't want us to see his face. Melody, my first thought was, prior to our event starting, someone got into this mansion. That was because that's how human form or human like this was, what I was seeing. And I jumped up to my feet. I didn't take my eyes off of him because I wanted to see where he goes. Still thinking it was a live person. I watched, now this was all in a matter of 5 seconds or so. I watched him just kind of like go away without even moving. Mm-hmm. The strange thing about this was the person kneeling down, it looked as if I was looking in a mirror. He looked just like me. Only difference was I had on a black sweatshirt. This whatever it was had on a black outer garment, but he had on like gray pants. I had on jeans, but he was my complexion. He had the shaved head and he had his head down where he didn't want to reveal his face. That's what was, it kind of looked like if somebody's trying to duck you out and don't want to be seen. That's what, but the thing that blew my mind is it looked like me. Even to me, I was like, damn, that looks like me. And it was gone.
Wait, did it ever look up at you?
Nope.
No. Okay. So immediately doppelganger.
It didn't move. It didn't move. He was just crouched down like he was hiding. Like, if I don't make a noise, they won't see me. And I kept my eyes on him. I jumped up to my feet because I thought he was going to like try to run. I actually thought someone broke in and was hiding from us up there. And as I kept my eyes on him and I got to my feet, he just went away. And I can't explain it.
Yeah. So one of two things, but like the first one that really just comes to mind is doppelganger, especially with like the head down, like not looking at you, because the whole theory behind doppelgangers is you're never supposed to meet. You're never supposed to look each other in the eye. So the fact that the head was down leads me to believe doppelganger.
Right. But that was the first time I'd ever, and it was weird, man. It was because for that split second, the whole purpose of being there for paranormal went out the window. I actually thought it was a human being. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And
it's terrifying.
Yeah, to a skeptic, I know that must sound absolutely crazy, but I saw what I saw. You know, we're going to be back there in 2 weeks, and I'm going to seriously try to see it again.
Yeah, just be careful. It's so funny because doppelgangers are so under-researched. Like, there's not a lot of people willing to go out and actually, like, do real research on doppelgangers. But, yeah, you have to let me know if you come across that again. Because I've only heard of one other case where someone, like, publicly talked about it. And I don't know. That's something that absolutely fascinates me.
And the thing is, all the hundreds of events we've done or whatever, that has never crossed my mind that I would encounter a doppelganger or, hey, maybe I'll see a spirit tonight that looks like me. That has never crossed my mind. So it wasn't my imagination or me trying to mentally matrix something. It happened, and it's something that has never crossed my mind. So that's why I kind of took it kind of serious. You know what I mean? And it was strange. It was really, really strange. And it was frightening because it was almost, like I said, I was kneeling down on one knee and this thing was squatting down like a baseball catcher, but I didn't know if it was mimicking me, like trying to give me the illusion I was looking in a mirror or like everything went through my mind. All I know is he looked like me and he was gone. And I never saw below like his eyebrows. So I don't know what to say.
Wow, you have to keep me updated. I'm going to be following your page when you have that event to see if you experience that again.
Well, one of the things to show you how weird this mansion is I could actually hear Ernie. I was upstairs on the 3rd floor near that window, and he was one level down. And I could actually hear questions he was asking downstairs, and our Phasma box was answering him.
Yep.
So, completely separate. And I'm like, Ernie, the questions you just asked was, here's the answer. And he's like, how do you know that? And he started asking, and I was.
Well, what was funny was I was down below, and I was having an issue with my laptop. Well, at that moment, one of my friends who's he's on a show on the Travel Channel, he messaged me. I forget what the message was. It wasn't about our event. It was something on a personal note. So he messaged me, and I said, hey, I'm in the middle of an event. Talk to you tomorrow or whatever. Dave asked me who just messaged me or something, because the response on the Phasma box was, Ernie, he's filming. And I was like, wow, that's kind of weird, because he is a TV personality. You know what I mean? And that he got that response, and my computer was broke. I wound up, my computer had been broken. I didn't know it. That's why it wasn't working.
Yeah, he set something on the top and cracked the screen and completely blew it out.
Yikes.
Luckily, he knows a really good engineer who repaired it very cheap.
Ooh, I wonder who that was.
So if you ever break a computer, phone, whatever, call me first, because usually instead of spending $500, I could probably get it for about $30 to $40.
Cool.
Very good. Melody, we hate to let you go, but our time is up, and it seems like it was only 15 minutes.
I know.
If it's okay with you, I have so many. I didn't even scratch the surface of the things I want to ask you, but we have to get you back on very soon in 2021. I'm just now starting to work on the upcoming year schedule. So please, before you get back in full swing and this virus goes away, I got to get you back on here, because I have so much I want to talk to you about. And when we have a guest like you on, the hour goes so fast.
I know.
It really does.
I would love to. I had such a great night talking with you guys, and I look forward to coming back again.
I will message you. I will message you in the next few weeks with some available dates, and you pick the one that works for you, and we will get you back on, because we have so much we want to ask you.
Yeah. Once you're in the green room, before we leave, hang out after the show. We'll come back in once I clear everything up. But we're going to basically do a pause for the cause and let them know about some of the events. And thank you kindly.
Thank you very much for giving up an hour. Thank you for giving up an hour of your Sunday and spending it with us. We was really looking forward to it, and
definitely,
I want to thank Dan Class for getting us in touch with Melody, and can't wait to have you back.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Talk soon.
God bless. Have a good night. Amazing guest.
I know, man. It's weird, because 2 different times we were supposed to go to the Hinsdale house.
I know.
And one time you had a personal issue we had to cancel. Second time I did. And it was both during the Rochester Parafest.
Yep.
So maybe the timing was off.
It's going to be. We got to get there along the way.
It's just going to be that much better. Hey, before we go, as far as our investigation last night, we can't reveal anything yet. But I do really, really, really want to thank Melody, Brooke, and Ray Shade. They were on the investigation with us. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. The case wouldn't have turned out the way it did if it wasn't for those two. We love you guys. And James Anito, we know you are far away, but you were with us through the whole thing. And thank you for guiding us through what we needed that was out of our
we're still compiling the evidence, and I think it's going to come out with a good positive.
Actually, James and this is so cool. James and Carl from Duo Demonology. Everybody knows Carl from the original Ghost Hunters. They are on Coast to Coast AM tonight. For those of you that don't know Coast to Coast AM, it is a syndicated radio show. We do get it here in Maryland. It runs from, I think, 1 a.m. till 4 or 5 in the morning. I listen to it while I'm at work on the midnight shift. It's hosted by George Norrie. It is the first paranormal. Well, they don't just talk paranormal. They talk everything. Aliens, spaceships, demons, devils, Bigfoot. Yeah. And it is the first paranormal talk show or unexplained talk show that I ever listened to. I've been listening to it probably, oh my goodness, about 17 years.
Nice.
It's very good. So,
all right. And what about our event in 2 weeks?
Our event in 2 weeks. I spoke to Amy last night. It is still on. Tickets. We have some tickets available yet. It is the Samuel Miller Mansion in Columbia, Pennsylvania. It was so great. It was such a success the last time we were there that they scheduled another event. It's so much fun. If you haven't been there, check it out.
Check it out. We have videos up on our YouTube channel and in Paranormal Inc.
Go to
John. I love you, dude. Yeah, hopefully you're there.
Ghost Tours. Is it Ghost Tours on Locust? You can find them on Facebook or just their regular website or whatever. GhostToursOnLocust.com and click on the event and get tickets. Come investigate with David Seiler and myself.
Love you guys.
Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So hope to see you there. And we will see you in 2 weeks right here, where I do believe our guests are. I didn't even tell you about this one yet.
How the hell am I supposed to know?
A few weeks ago, I was on a program called The Seer and the Scholar. It was hosted by Rob and Melinda. And we're going to have Rob and Melinda with us in 2 weeks. Absolutely amazing. Melinda is great at what she does. And Rob, I tell you, it was the first time I spoke to the man. I know who he is. I've seen him, through social media. But they interviewed me, and Rob is one of the most down-to-earth and coolest cats you ever want to meet. And we're going to have such a great time. So tune back in 2 weeks.
All right, guys. We got to roll. We're like way over. Peace.
See you guys.
Have a good one.
You've been listening to Step Into the Paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler. Thank you for listening, and listen in next week for another topic and more great guests right here on WLFE DB Radio Network.